Since morning you already had 3 sessions and this is the 4th session. I was thinking this is second session of the day, so it should be still okay. So 4th session is tiring or you are still okay? And this rearrangement gave some energy.
Yes, sir.
So in schools, children have to go through these periods. One teacher goes, next comes, 8 times this happens. So how many sessions are there today? Maybe we should make 8 sessions.
9 periods.
9 periods with 1 break.
Two breaks.
Oh, 2 breaks. So tomorrow we can do that. Just to experience what children go through. You are able to hear me? Can you see me? You can see me, right? Which were the sessions since morning? First one was inauguration. Motivation. For all of you motivated now?
Yes,
Enough?
yes, sir.
For how many days?
This academic year.
Till the next stop, right?
Yeah.
Okay, which was second session? Know yourself. So motivated, now you know yourself. Okay.
And then
Third session?
SWOT analysis.
SWOT analysis. So even deeper knowing yourself.
Yes, sir.
Very nice. So now let's maybe continue that same journey. All of you done your own SWOT?
Yes, sir.
So you know your strengths
Yes, sir.
and you know yourself. So if I ask who you are, so you can answer very well. Anyone? You want to say something about yourself? You don't know enough. Well, this also, maybe we can start our session with this premise of who we are. So many times, when somebody asks who you are, so we tell our name, then we tell teacher or whatever role we are doing, and then it goes on like this. For children as well, when you see children in front, or a child in front, or 40 children in the class, so for us, children are, how do we see child? When you see 40 children in your class, so how do you see them? By their name? By their marks? By how naughty they are, who is troubling you, who is sitting quietly in the corner, who is not answering your questions. So we know children maybe much or little deeper than their name and their marks. So what else do you think when you look at a child? You don't have to answer anything. You have to just keep thinking. We don't have opportunity for full interactive session, so there will be one group discussion in between. So then when I ask questions, if I hold it like this, can you still hear me? Or this is better? So when I ask questions, you should think. That's the pedagogy we will have for this session. Now this topic of Panchamukhi, Shikshana, I heard you are all in middle stage now. The preparatory stage is in RVK, middle stage is here, and secondary is in RVK, right? So by middle stage, you already passed preparatory. That means you are actually in a formal, serious implementation of Panchamukhi Shikshana. So all of you are more than 5 years in JGR in all the schools, like whichever, Bangalore school.
4 to 8 years.
4 to 8 years in Bangalore schools. In RVK, Bangalore schools. So all of you heard about Panchamukhi Shikshana? At least once? How many of you heard more than 5 times? All of you? Okay. How many of you have understood what is Panchamukhi Shikshana? All of you? So this session, we should go to the next step, right? So for Panchamukhi Shikshana implementation, this is the topic today. We are not talking about what is Panchamukhi Shikshana. So I am assuming you all know it. But for us to really look at implementation, I say there are three aspects. So the first, can you go to the next slide? No, one slide before this. So today we will look at three aspects. So the first thing about why Panchamukhi Shikshana, second is what it really means, what it is, and third is the how part, how to implement. So today we will focus more on the how part. But before going to how, or the how is influenced by why more than the what part. Because what part is part of the system. As part of school overall system, what is taken care of. But you can still change some bit of what. So when I am using these three terms, so it becomes very abstract, right? When I say why, what, how. About Panchamukhi Shikshana, each one of you might be thinking different things. So if we go little more deeper into the middle part, the what part. And here, initially I thought I'll ask questions, but now, I've changed my thought a little bit, considering all of you are very active. So without asking questions, I'll just share 2-3 big concepts. The first concept is Pancha kosha. I'm sure all of you would have heard about Pancha kosha and Pancha kosha vikas, or Pancha kosha development. All of you heard this term, and you would have also heard about Panchamukhi Shikshana. And you would have got little confused why we have these two things. So first we'll look at what is Pancha kosha. Yoga teachers here, at least Praveen ji is here. Some more. Yeah. So you know what is Pancha kosha, right? So your own Pancha kosha you have experienced. All of us have Pancha kosha here, and we can see the gross body. All of us, you can see your own body in the mirror, but some parts of the body you can see through our eyes, right? But we can feel our body. So I'm not going in too much details like we did earlier when we looked at Pancha kosha as a concept. But here, very briefly, Pancha kosha, 5 aspects, the gross body. The second one is Pranamaya kosha. So Pranamaya kosha is a life force, but I have seen most of the time people don't understand what is Pranamaya kosha. So anybody here, now this question is for answering. Anyone who can explain or whatever you have understood about Pranamaya kosha you want to share?
Oxygen, sir.
You have understood or not understood, or you don't want to answer?
Pranamaya kosha itself is an energy layer in our body. The breath which you are taking, inhaling and exhaling, that is called the pranamaya. Prana, it is not directly call it as the oxygen. It is beyond the oxygen. It only organizes or arranges the physical body. Without prana or pranamaya kosha, our physical body don't do anything. This is the pranamaya kosha.
Dhanyavad. Understood? Yes or no? You have to be honest. There is only yes or no. Why there is silence? So in your class, if you are telling some concept and children just keep quiet, you say, have you understood or not? And nobody answers. Now I'm intentionally saying these things. Pranamaya kosha is really difficult to understand. Because this Pranamaya kosha, if you have to very simplistically understand, it is about automatically what is happening in our body is Pranamaya kosha. So when we say automatically happening, that means we cannot know. Have you felt heartbeats? But do you, unless you really, check your pulse, you will not know that heart is beating. Similarly, do we know digestion is happening? Do we know blood is moving all over our body? We don't know, right? How sensations, how nervous system is working? None of it we know. And that's why Pranamaya kosha is very difficult to understand, because it happens automatically. So everything which is happening automatically in our body is part of Pranamaya kosha. So there are technical terms, the sympathetic, parasympathetic systems, which are happening in our body. Now for us, there is a bridge, a link between what we know and what happens automatic. That bridge is our breath. That's why many times when there is reference of Pranamaya kosha, we always say it's oxygen. Pran is not oxygen. Pran is everything, chalana, life force. That means every cell in our body is working. Your liver, all of us, our liver is working, pancreas are working, kidney is working, brain is working, eyes are working. Everything is working automatically. So we call it conscious and subconscious. The subconscious part is Pranamaya kosha. This is very easy to understand, rather than having a definition which we are not able to comprehend. The moment we say oxygen, prana, pancha prana, 5 pranas have supporting prana, this is all theory about Pranamaya kosha. Now, if we understand Pranamaya kosha is something which is happening automatic, it is also the force which makes our body work. Anything, if I lift my hand, I am talking through my voice box, or I am seeing, or digestion happening, I am feeling, all of this is happening because of Pranamaya kosha. The third part, Manomaya kosha, most of us know, because that's where the inside feeling happens. Now for us, you are watching, you are hearing, there's some nice air here, feeling, maybe you had nice food, tasting. So all the Panchendriyas, or the 5 Jnanendriyas we call, right? The Indriyas, the sense organs, are connected to the master. That master is controlling all the 5 sense organs. So the 5 sense organs and the master of these sense organs, this whole system is Manomaya kosha. So our interface to outside world is through Manomaya kosha. So it is feeling. When you see through eyes, there are some 12 steps happen inside. But for us, we feel something. The moment you see something nice or something, hear something, say this bell, or hear some noise or some melody. So for everything, there is a feeling or there is a reaction which goes on because of the stimulus which comes from outside. So that whole thing is Manomaya kosha. So if you see something nice, we may say something nice. If somebody shouts on you, we may react with anger. So similarly, all these Arishada Vargas, which are called Vikara, they are also reaction to something happening outside, processed through the senses and the mind. So this whole system is Manomaya kosha, or we simply call it mind. The fourth part is intellect. Typically we have intellect, we look at it as buddhi. Buddhi is, all of us, Kannadalli buddhi ಹೇಳ್ತೀವಿ ಅಥವಾ ಬೇರೆ ಶಬ್ದ ಇದೆ? So buddhi is made up of multiple things. Even the observation part, seeing is different, observation is different, right? We see through eyes, we observe through mind or part of brain, we can say part of intellect. So observing, keenly observing, classifying, grouping, decision making, analysis, synthesis, all of these are part of buddhi. And there's one more thing about buddhi is wisdom, prajna we call. Or there are terms like Rutumbara Prajna you would have heard. So that is integral understanding. So there is conceptual understanding, integral understanding. So these are technical terms which are used about buddhi or about the overall intellectual capacity of human beings. So this fourth part is Vijnanamaya kosha. The last part is Anandamaya kosha. Now this is also something which most of us experience but don't understand. The reason for, like Pranamaya kosha, we don't understand because it is not in our conscious, it is subconscious. Similarly, Anandamaya kosha is a state which goes beyond the reactions of mind, beyond the vikaras of the mind. So when our mind is pure, we experience the Anandamaya kosha. So whenever we are more peaceful or deeply tranquil, that is the state of Anandamaya. It is called experience of bliss or experience of divinity. I am sure all of us were in that state in the childhood. After that, slowly we start getting vikaras and we make our mind impure, and slowly we start losing the experience of Ananda. So these are 5 koshas all of us have. I am sure if you think deeply, when you think of this concept, apply it on yourself. Don't try to read and understand. Don't try to understand the concept only through, we call it cognitive filters or through language. Understand it as you feel, how it is happening within you. So once we do that, Panchakosha becomes you. So this is maybe middle stage understanding of Panchakosha. Earlier, whatever sessions we had, they were more on the theoretical understanding of what every kosha means. Now, I would like you to really feel every kosha. Like feel the body. Many times we are not mindful of our body. All of us are sitting here. Are you mindful how you are sitting? How are your legs? How are your hands? Where are you looking at? Are you using the armrest? So this is being mindful of your body. Similarly, watch the breath. That is the only interface what we have to Pranamaya kosha. Manomaya kosha, what is going on in your mind? That is, we call it vitarka and vichar, the thinking part. So there is some stimulus which creates the series of thoughts which is thinking. Similarly, the buddhi part, what understanding you are having, prajna, pratyaksha jnana, or we say vijnana is vishesha jnana. Vishesha jnana is, now if I see something, I understand there is something that is coming through the manomaya kosha. But I can imagine something, I can construct on my previous knowledge, and I can even create new knowledge. So all of this is part of buddhi, and that also I should be mindful of, and the experience of peaceful tranquility within me. So if we experience all of this, this is the real knowing of Panchakosha. Otherwise it is information about Panchakosha. So the difference between knowing and just having information, we should translate it for ourselves. So this is for implementation of Panchamukhi Shikshana or understanding Panchakosha, the first step of experiencing Panchakosha within us. So Panchakosha, one part. Now we all in RVK we talk about Panchamukhi Shikshana. We don't talk of Panchakosha, right? So there is, at least in yoga, what we say is yoga is about, like, each one of us, if we assume, we are a machine. So machine or any equipment, to make this equipment very efficient. If I have body, then my body should be very efficient. I should be able to sit for 8 hours without break. Sit straight, no back pain, no laziness, mind is not shutting down every 15 minutes, sustained attention, I am able to think sharp, create things. So all of this is enhancing the capacities or capabilities of this equipment. That is what yoga does. So yoga makes all these panchakoshas very efficient. So there is a second part also which yoga does. Is like when you have a very efficient equipment, what should that equipment do? Should that equipment, say, sit at home and do nothing? Or should that equipment design rocket to go like Chandrayaan, what people do in ISRO? Or say design something for our country? Or do something which is even like we have corruption happening all over, all types of vikar. So this efficient engine, the more efficient it is, the more efficiently it will do good or bad. So if you have a fast car can go on the road, right road faster, but it can also go on the wrong road faster. So when through yoga, if you make your system efficient, we should also make sure it goes in the right direction. So similarly, when our panchakoshas of our children, if we develop it properly, we should also know to what use we should put that. So the second aspect of our education is, maybe all of you may not be able to read the second part. You would have heard in some talks about Veshti to Parmeshti. You heard this term in Ekatma Manav Darshan. You would have some discourse somewhere, these words would have come to you. Ekatma Manav Darshan talks about Veshti to Parmeshti. That is from self to divinity. From me, that is Veshti, me to Sameshti, that is to community or family, community, society. Then to the nature, and from nature to divinity. So this link of human being, or a human being which is properly developed for the use or the best use of society and to be divine, that is the path which is the second aspect of our education or our vision. So first make individual very efficient, and then let the work be in the positive way for the humanity. So these two aspects are combined in Panchamukhi Shikshana. So the first aspect of Panchakosha, the second aspect of what you should do after being fully developed. That's the second aspect, which is the direction. So for direction, or overall, you would have maybe seen somewhere, if you have read about Ramakrishna Mission in Belur Mutt, Vivekananda has put one tagline. That tagline is Atmano Mokshartham Jagat Hitayacha. So this question was multiple times, it has come to Vivekananda, that what should be the tagline, what should Ramakrishna Mission or the enlightened people should do. So he said, should you just meditate and you become, like you achieve nirvana? Is that the goal? Like you become really great? Is that the goal? Then Vivekananda has put these two things. He said, definitely, Atmano Mokshartham. You become great, that's the first step. But while you are becoming great and when you become great, that greatness should be for the use of humanity. Jagat Hitayacha. You should not go away from the society. You should be useful for the society. So these two aspects of Atmano Mokshartham and Jagat Hitayacha are combined in RVK's Panchamukhi Shikshana. So you will see in Panchamukhi Shikshana these 5 aspects are there. So there is, I know in initial stages it was fine because everybody was hearing for the first time, but when people went to the school, there was a lot of confusion between Panchakosha and then the 5 domains which were defined in Panchamukhi Shikshana. So today, to avoid those things, we'll only focus on the Panchakosha Vikas. But you should know that Panchamukhi Shikshana covers these 2 aspects of the Samagra Vyaktitva and what it should be used for. Okay, I'll just break for a few moments. Any question? Is this useful? Useful in a CBSE school? How? Huh? Okay. So how it is useful in a CBSE school? See, we have CBSE board gives the curriculum. There are how many subjects are there? What are subjects we have in CBSE school? Science, maths, social science, Kannada, English, Hindi, Sanskrit. What else? Huh? Co-scholastic. What is co-scholastic? Huh? Yoga, Sangeet, dance, avant-garde. Okay, but a lot of these things CBSE has not mandated, right? How many subjects are mandated by CBSE?
3 core,
Huh?
2 language,
Huh.
and 3 core.
Okay, 2 languages and 3 core subjects. Okay. So CBSE has mandated this, but you are telling a lot of other subjects. So they are mandated by this school. So it is still fine. So there are whatever. How many subjects we have? No, here in our school?
7.
How many subjects we have in our schools?
7.
Huh?
7.
We don't know.
7.
How many languages are there? 4. Okay, for middle stage 4 languages. Okay. Then science, maths and social science. 7 subjects. Okay. What else is there apart from 7 subjects? Computer science is subject or a hobby? Is subject or hobby? Subject. So 8 subjects, not 7. Okay, 8 subjects. Anything else is there? Huh? What is that? Art and craft. Is it a subject or hobby? Hobby. Okay. What else is there? Physical education. Is it a subject or hobby? Or compulsion? No, post-scholastics are subjects or hobby? Yeah, I'm asking very familiar questions, right? These are not unfamiliar questions. Okay, what are accessories? Post-scholastic are accessories, okay. How many of you have read NCF? How many of you have read NEP? Some of you have read NEP, okay. NCF. Okay. How many have seen NCF? How many of you know long form of NCF? What is NCF?
Framework.
National Curriculum Framework. Okay. So when was National Curriculum Framework designed? The latest one. 2020 was NEP, National Education Policy. So National Curriculum Framework was released last year on 29th of July 2023. So you will see NCF 2023. If you go to NCRT website, you can see this document. Is this document useful for the teachers? Yes or no? Yes. Should there be exam on NCF for teachers?
Yes.
How do we test our children? Right. Yeah, you make it compulsory. you make it subject and you take worksheets, written test, whatever, PT1, PT2, all this. So I think we should do something like that for NCF. Only then we will read it. So NCF is a document which is specially created for teachers. I think we had this session earlier, no? That NCF all of us should read. So please do read. It is for teachers, for us, for all of us. It has a lot of information about curricular areas, cross-cutting areas, about the concept of education, aims of education, and the learning standards. What should drive education in the school? Now for us, I'm sure each one of you teach one subject or two subjects? Or all the subjects? Is there anyone who teaches all the subjects? 2, 3, right? 1, 2, 3. But you should know what is happening in the school overall. Because you are all now in middle stage, right? You are not freshers. So you should know how many subjects. Now my question, how many subjects, was a little surprising to almost everybody. No one had quick and correct answer. Yes.
It's not only about the academic subjects.
Uh-huh.
Overall, we say among the key incomes are holistic development. We consider like the social emotional development, community development, all those considerations. So, considering all these, so we develop all these subjects. Not only the academic subjects, social science and all.
Okay. So perfect. I think this is fine. There are a lot of things happen in the school, in the classroom, in the school. So very quickly, in terms of what is Pancha kosha and why Pancha kosha is important for us. Because we have so many subjects in our schools. Even CBSE has many electives. There are 17 electives. There are many things which CBSE mandates, even physical education or art education. Yoga is not mandated, but in RVK we have made it compulsory. Art education, there are 4 different forms of arts. So visual arts, performing arts. So in every art there is different type of development which happens in the child. So if we look at all the subjects and everything happening in the school, there is some development which is happening of the child and also of the teacher. So when you have to take, say someone asks you to take a substitute class, you first have to understand what is there and then you go and take substitute class, right? Not of your subject, but some other subject. So similarly, if you are organizing an event, first you understand it and then the qualities of organizing an event, planning the event, executing the event, taking feedback from the event, assessing the impact of the event. So all of these things, some way, subconsciously, there's a lot of development happening in us. So when such things happen in the school, so there are some things which are through subject, there are some things which are happening out of subject. Panchakosha development, I'm sure all of you would have read by now. The slide is on for some time, right? All of you are able to read this? You're not able to read. So this slide has 5 aspects: Annamaya kosha, Pranamaya kosha, Manomaya. So Pranamaya kosha, we said, is the most difficult, but there are less activities on what Pranamaya kosha development can happen. Annamaya kosha is the most visible, but then the most important also. Because many times we take some things for granted. The body, even all of us sitting here, how many of us can really sit properly, walk properly, run properly, from posture perspective, from the skill perspective? Because no one has taught us. Our physical education teachers have not taught us these basic things. Posture correction is not part of our syllabus. But posture, even sitting posture or standing posture, how do we, when you sit like this, how should be your legs? Should the toes be pointing to each other? So these are small things which help in healthy life for 100 years, we say. Our internal systems, we might be having blood pressure now, diabetes, so many lifestyle diseases, knee problem, back problem, neck problem. These are coming because physical development was not done properly when we were in school. Now for our children, they look okay now. But when they grow up, all these aspects matter a lot. So for proper physical development, nutrition, and then the second aspect is sleep along with nutrition. So during sleep, even now, our cells recover. Every day, millions of our new cells are created. There is repair work which happens during the night. So relaxation and restoration happens during night. So it's very important children have sound sleep, and all of us also. Similarly, control, that every day, this applies to all of us. Every day we must get up early in the morning, complete all the morning processes, then do some exercise. We know that exercise is good. I'm sure none of us here will say exercise is bad. But how many of us really do every day? Yeah. No, yeah. This was just a question for us. It's really nice that you people are doing every day. Similarly, when we should eat, what type of food we should eat, how we should eat. So these things seems to be simple things, but very important things. Like this, there are activities given for all the pranamaya kosha, the pranayam part as well as the skill part. So what happens subconsciously? Then for manomaya kosha, it's about sensitivity or samvedanshilata, what we feel about the world, because through man we sense the whole world. So what do we feel about the world comes to manomaya kosha. Vijnanamaya kosha we discussed. Anandamaya kosha is about feeling the divinity which comes through selflessness. So when we give, we feel more happy than what we take. So this whole selflessness comes from the bliss part or Anandamaya kosha. We are slightly 10 minutes delayed from this is, I think, one of the most important slides that I heard from different teachers. This was a problem we had long back in 2015-16. When we started Panchamukhi Shikshana, there were lesson plans created. They were called Panchamukhi Shikshana lesson plan. So for every topic, we should have physical development. We should have psychological, emotional, intellectual, spiritual. For every lesson plan, all 5 things should be there. That type of lesson plan template was made. And we said that's not what Panchamukhi Shikshana is. That's not what Panchakosh Vikas is. Every activity, we can't develop all 5 aspects. Or rather, we should not focus on all 5 aspects in every activity. If we are teaching science, the intellectual aspect, the cognitive aspect, the aspect of buddhi should be more focused. But you can still focus some aspect of mind because you are proceeding through mind. While doing physical activities, we don't have to focus on the cognitive aspect. When we are doing physical activity, focus on physical development. You may develop some of the manomaya kosha or pranamaya kosha aspect, but the focus is on physical activity. When we are doing seva, focus on the Anandamaya kosha. You don't have to focus on the Vijnanamaya kosha while we are doing a seva project. So this is very important to understand that there are subjects in the school and we do classroom teaching. There are a lot of school level activities right from our prarthana or from our Vidyarambha process to our Sankalpa process, events in the school. Every day, whatever things are happening, the way teacher speaks with the student, teachers speak with each other, principal speaks with teacher, all of these children are observing. So all these things together, along with what we do in subjects, everything together should develop 5 koshas. Not every activity developing 5 koshas. Is this clear? Do you have any questions on this? Because I heard multiple times that we are going with every activity we should develop 5 koshas. Is your understanding like that? Sure? Yes or no? So you are sure that every activity need not develop 5 aspects. Having said this, we should also think of every activity is not isolated. When you are teaching mathematics, don't only focus on mathematics. Because maths is about patterns. So when we discuss patterns, you can also see the beauty in patterns, the nature. You can also link it to rhythm, which comes in poetry. So a lot of such things can be connected because world is connected. That's why these 2 words, which is holistic and integrative. So if you even read NCF, it talks of these 2 words, which is the big transformation, what we want to bring in education. Holistic and so, the other aspect of effective implementation is coverage and sufficiency. So whenever we go to different schools, we will say, so for all 5 koshas do we have activities? Answer is yes. For physical development, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. For pranic development, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. For everything we have activities and we can tick mark. But are they sufficient? Every child's holistic development, is it happening or not? Now that is the sufficiency criteria. So we should look at the activity we are doing for concentration. Is that sufficient to develop required level of concentration in every child in our school? Some children may have innate thing that they can sit, they can have sustained concentration. But if you look at all children in our school, do they have the level of sustained concentration what we want? Or the vikaras from Manomay Kosha perspective? Or even intellectual development. Can every child do synthesis? Or can every child do research work? So these are all aspects part of the sufficiency thing. So when we look at Panchakosha, we should look at even the simple things like physical development. Can every child run 5 kilometers? Can every child do 25 Surya Namaskaras with mantra, chanting and breathing? So these are some tests which are for sufficiency. If we say that yes, every child can run 5 kilometers, can do 100 squats, can do 50 push-ups, then we say okay, there is body capacity, there is hygiene, and we say the health habits, all of these things are there. Only then we say physical development is sufficiently happening. So the sufficiency criteria is also very important. Okay, so now you have the circles. I want you to go back to your circles.